This video compares the Honor 9 with the OnePlus 5 and with first test results concerning the battery runtime and processor performance, so stay tuned. First difference is obvious, especially when I go to white background like this one, and you see here the display of the Honor 9 is way smaller than that of the OnePlus 5. In numbers, 5.15 inch or 131 millimeters, 5.48 inch, 139 millimeters. That's in area a plus of 13%. So not too big, but you see it, and of course you feel it if you compare the sizes. Okay, it's just 71 instead of 74 millimeters in width, but you will feel that. In height, by the way, 147, 154 millimeters, and the weight is 156 and 153. So the weight you won't feel, but you will feel the bigger width here in your palm. It's really feeling bigger, but of course it is bigger, 5.5 instead of 5.2 inch. So you get what you expect. Concerning this, you have the very same resolution. Let me go to the app launcher here. So in both cases is 1080 by 1920 pixels, coming to a density of 428 ppi to 402. Both is not too good. This is 3% below average, 14% below average, but it's absolutely enough. Even if you have very good eyes and looking very close and carefully to these tiny text here, you won't see the pixels. So the sharpness is absolutely okay. Okay, bigger is better, but you have to pay more, and both is very absolutely okay, in my opinion, completely enough. But you have to know that this is a Super AMOLED. Let me go to the photos here and that one so that you compare. While the Honor 9 has a dual domain IPS, that's LCD. Here below, both are on the same brightness. That's not maximum. I'm coming to this a bit later, so it's absolutely comparable. Here on top, Super AMOLED, you see you have a little bit brighter colors and more contrast, like it's typical for OLED. This is LCD, but you have a good viewing angle stability on both. It's always a little bit hard to demonstrate with all the reflections here. Let me go like that for a last try here. Both are absolutely okay, and especially both have that, let me call it brightness trouble, because I measured in the middle here a brightness on the Honor 9 of 459 candela per square meter. That nits 459, and here on the OnePlus 5 it's 455. If you compare these to the averages for OLED, this is 6% below, and for LCDs this is also 6% below. So compared to the technology of the panel, both are okay, but not the brightest one. So in direct sunlight, you have to shade a little bit, I guess. But one can live with that. It's not optimal. It could be better, but it's okay still. And with that, let's come to the design, because that's completely different. As you may remember, I guess, from the launch events, here on the OnePlus 5, that's aluminum unibody. It's, in this case, the black one, a very good grip for your fingers, while here on the Honor 9, you have that glass backside, so it's very glossy. You see all the fingerprints. It's a little bit more slippery for the fingers, but you have that very solid metal frame once around. So if you wind these, that's always part of the review. So it's not cracking or creaking. It's very solid, but nevertheless, if it's dropping down, for example, like this one here with one of these edges, or with a glass, well, glass on the backside doubles the risk of a breakage in case it drops. So an aluminum unibody like this one will stand a little bit more. As we're on the backside, as you see, both have that dual camera here, but both are very different from the concept. Let's start with the Honor 9. So here you have a 12 megapixels color sensor and a 12 megapixel black and white sensor, and only the latter one has an optical image stabilizer. So not the 12 megapixels RGB. So somewhere they are scaling up the the optical image stabilizer information from the 20 megapixel sensor to make, let's say, for example, colored videos and photos that have 20 megapixels. Plus, you can have direct access to the monochrome, to the black and white photos here with 20 megapixels that are very, very sharp and crisp and high contrast here. That's completely different here because you do not have access to one of the single cameras. You get always the 16 megapixels final completed photo here. But the sensors are different. You have 12 megapixels wide angle and a 20 megapixels tele. Then let's come to the front. Oh, by the way, on the back side, both have 4K video Ultra HD. On the front, video in Full HD. And here you have for selfies 8 megapixels and 16 megapixels. So that's a huge difference for selfie fans. We have to come to the quality of selfies and the rear camera in the final review, like always, as text on my website, mobiwatch.net, as soon as possible. Both have 4G, 300, 600 megabit per second nominally in theory, but if you really would feel any difference of that in real day life, I'm not quite sure. You have both Wi-Fi SE, NFC. Okay, here it's Bluetooth 4.2, here it's Bluetooth 5.0, so the newer standard, but you have almost no compatible wearables, for example, smartwatches or whatever you want to connect with that. Okay, it's better, but it's today still completely enough to have 4.2. The radiation values, well, here it's 1.26 and 1.39 in the European Union, watts per kilogram on the head. So the norm, you can go up to 2 watts, so it's way below that. But normally you are recommended to have around about 1 or a maximum of 1 watt. So both are above of that. So it's still okay. They are allowed. But if you are talking a lot with your phone on your ear, not using a Bluetooth headset or the hands-free of the phone, or for example, like we all do these days, if you have just mail and news and whatever you do, and do not use your phone for making calls with the phone on your ear, that's absolutely okay too, in my opinion. But you have to know both are, if you are watching for things like that, both are not really the optimum. Then with that, coming to the one last point, sorry. Okay, fingerprint sensor I have both, but I found here on the Honor 9 only in the top head section here that infrared booster. So you can use the Honor 9 as a transmitter, as a universal transmitter for TV, remote and hi-fi and whatever. I find that very useful, but if you do not need that at all, so don't worry about that. With that, coming to the processor. Here it's the Kirin 960. You have 8 cores, Mali G71 MP8 graphics module and 4 GB of RAM. And here it's the Snapdragon 835, also 8 cores, Adreno 540, and you have the 2 versions. One is 6 and the bigger one, and the more expensive one, has 8. That's the one I was testing here, and that has also 64 and 128 GB internal memory. This one has 64, like the basis version here, leaving a net of 46, and here it's 48 GB, because you do have here that native Android Oxygen OS, and here it's the Motion UI 5.1 from Honor or Huawei, so you have that needs way more storage here. But on the other side, you can expand here your memory with micro SD card, officially up to 256 GB, and it's a hybrid slot, so you have the choice if you insert a micro SD or a second nano SIM. That's different here on the OnePlus 5. You have 2 slots also, but you cannot use a micro SD card here. It's just for 2 nano SIM cards. So you have dual SIM, but you cannot expand your memory. So I really recommend, if 58 GB net here on the smaller version is not enough for you, to go for the bigger one with 128 or net 110 GB internal memory. So you should know 2 versions here. So I've tested the bigger one with 8 GB of working memory, and with that we came in the complete final result. That's always taken by more than 50 single values from 15 several benchmarks I'm taking, computing an overall result. And here the Honor 9 is 69% above the average, and the OnePlus 5 is 107% above. So it's calculating more than double the quickly than the average. So 107, 69, you might think, okay, that's way better here, but you will not really see in everyday life. Or let me start, for example, like this one here. It's not really that you would feel, but there might be some cases, for example, games, graphically very advanced games. Then you will have, I guess, some more frames per second more here. But if you really need that as everyday usage, I would say for 90% or more, this is more than enough, completely enough. If you really want the maximum horsepower, then you go for the OnePlus 5. All right, but there is more. Battery capacity, both are fixed, built in 3100 and 3300 milliamps. You cannot have a Qi wireless charging on both. It's not possible. And in the test result, that's always a video at 200 nits in flight mode. So really an on-screen time test with the processor used. And here we are 550 minutes. That's 3% above the average. And here on the OnePlus 5, that's 733 minutes. That's 38% above the average. So you see, it's running way longer, and especially 38% above the average means even heavy users will come through the day, most of them. Okay, if you have maximum brightness, GPS on, all the time usage, non-stop, then it might be a little bit problematically at the end of the evening, but in most cases, 99% of the cases, even heavy users will come through the day. That's not possible with the Honor 9. That's okay for regular users. You will come through the day, but if the day is getting a little bit more intense, well, then you can have a little bit trouble sometimes. Yeah. That's the differences. Last of all, these are coming at the moment with Android 7.0 and Emotion UI 5.1. And this is Android 7.1.1 and Oxygen OS 4.5.6 at the moment. Prices here in Germany, Europe, including tax, 429, 499, and the bigger version, 559 euro. So it's definitely cheaper, a little bit expensive, but you have the better runtime, but you cannot expand the memory, different cameras here and different materials, different design. So it's really a hard decision, but nevertheless, I hope I could help you a little bit with this video. Thanks for watching, and please be so kind to recommend my channel. Maybe you even rate this video and leave a sub, and especially your opinion in the comments. Thanks for that in advance. Take care and bye.